All right, we're back. Happy Wednesday, everyone.
What's up, guys?
We have with us today Greg, the creator of Brick.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Looking forward to this. So you have what seems to be like the app right now. Like it's the first time I've seen something like this actually show up in people's profiles and that kind of thing. It's the Untapped of Lego.
Yeah.
That reference means anything?
Yeah, a little bit.
Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool.
Yeah. It's been a labor of love for me. And when I started thinking about, just from my background perspective, you mentioned about Untapped, and that was my brainchild from before, and created the Untapped app, which is a social network for beer. I've always been driven it.
That was you. That was you.
That was me. I thought you already knew that. So
wow. Oh.
Yeah. So I thought that's what the joke was. But yes. Yes. When I started that app around 2010, I was really big into social networks and niche-based networks that really kind of tied to social events that were not inherently social. So with beer, you go to a bar and you're drinking a beer and you're sharing with friends. And I'm like, well, why not we bring the world of the internet in real time toward that? And as I got back into Lego, I've been a big fan of Lego for many, many years. But obviously, as I got older and fallen out of it, and then over about a year and a half ago, got back into it, I was like, man, I just built this awesome set. I want to be able to share that with my friends in real time or see a build note of what's happening. And I took the same kind of methodologies of like, what I did with Untapped and applied it to Bricks. And that's kind of where it all came together. So it's amazing to see how it's grown over the last couple of months. It's been actually been live for about a year almost now, which is pretty crazy, but it's been caught a lot of fire and people using it more often in the last 3 to 6 months, which has been great to see. But yes, it's a great opportunity to be able to talk about it and be able to kind of share with the passion of the Lego community. So it's a little app that could, I guess, from that end.
Yeah, that's amazing, because just looking through today, man, there are so many similarities with Untapped. And I used to love Untapped.
Yeah.
I get kids now. I basically never drink anymore, so I don't have use for it. But I really enjoyed that when I was using it. Yeah. And seeing this just brought back memories of that. And I had no idea you were responsible.
The cat's out of the bag, I guess, at this point. So
that's great.
Yep.
Do you still keep up with Untapped? Is that still a thing?
Not really. To be honest with you, I left the company around 3 years ago at this point now, and I've actually I have 2 kids as well, so I don't do a lot of that stuff anymore. So Lego's become what I do of my kids and stuff like that, which is a lot more age appropriate, I guess you could say, from the beer side. I do follow it every once in a while, but I haven't been that close to it in many, many months.
Awesome. So it's more proof that drinking can lead to fun down the road, even if you quit.
Exactly right. I think the idea of these niche-based communities, they're everywhere, right? There's one for running and Strava and stuff like that. There's all these ones out there. And when I looked at Lego, I saw a lot of similarities with the beer industry. There are a lot of communities out there like Brickable and Brickset and Bricklink and etc. But they were all web and desktop focused. They were nothing on the phone. There were no apps to be able to kind of download and use from that end. And I thought to myself, wow, this is kind of a deja vu, because back when I started on Untapped, it was very similar. They had things like Beer Advocate and Rate Beer and other sites that were all just desktop based, but nothing on the phone. I'm like, wow, there's some connections here. And then from that angle, I was able to kind of come up with this idea of a brick and basically run with the same concept. You'll see similar things like badges and stuff like that on there, which is exactly what they were in Untapped as well. And that's been a big success from that end. But I think that it's pretty interesting to be able to apply the same concepts of building the app, just different type of community, which has been great. And I didn't really know the community that well when I first started it. So it's been great to kind of meet folks like yourself and others that are in the community and see what we can do to improve the app, make it better for everybody else. So it's been a lot of fun the last couple of months being able to dig in there.
And I love the way you use the badges to drive engagement.
Yeah.
It's gives you the little touch of addiction.
Yeah. Well, it's a collector's paradise, right? We're all collectors because we're with Lego. Now we're collecting badges in an app that you use to collect Lego. So it's like a double-edged, narcotic, I guess you could say at that point. So it's a fun way to look at it, and also it gets you outside of your comfort zone of what you normally, like to build. I never really was a big helmet fan, and then I got into Star Wars a little bit more and tried to build those, and that can be aligned to a badge or something along those fronts. So I think it gives you an opportunity to kind of expand your palette and expand your collection, and I think it's a great opportunity to do that.
Yeah. So, okay. So you said you've been back into Lego for a year and a half or so?
Yes, that's right? Correct. Yep.
So did you build as a kid a lot?
Yes. Heavily built in with Legos as a kid, mainly on Team Pirates from the very early days from that side. I had a lot of the Aqua sets too. I kind of fell out of it probably around high school-ish area. When I was younger, they didn't have adult sets like they had. That's a newer thing that Lego's been doing over the last couple of years. So that didn't exist. And I remember about almost 2 years ago now, my mother-in-law got me the Up House, which is like the first Lego set that I got in probably like 10 years from that level. And it's a smaller set, but it's a great one. And a great, the balloons are awesome on the top of that particular building. And I remember building it and thinking to myself, wow, they've really come a long way from what I remember when I was a kid. And that got me thinking about other sets out there. And I'm a big Home Alone fan, and I got the Home Alone set over here behind me. And I started building that one, got really liked that one as well. Then got the A-frame cabin. And from there, it's all been downhill or uphill, depending on where you look at it from that end. But I just don't remember the Legos of my early childhood being this detailed and so fun to build. And that's when I got into it. And then I've always had that technology edge on stuff. So I said, what can I do to make this more fun and engaging? And that's where Brick came together.
So let me figure out how to ask this because you already, okay. So when you went to start Brick,
yep,
because you already had a background, did you say, I want to take the old framework and just make it brick based? Or did you kind of take Lego and say, what from that I can rope in, but I really want to do this other thing?
Yeah, it was a mixture of both there. I think the concept that I had done with Untapped before was a proven concept of being able to check in your beer, share with freaking recommendations. So that was the kind of the framework that laid on the path of what Brick was. But I knew that there were other things about Lego that were much more important that could not be translated from the beer world. So things like adding a build note or something in a real-time build, what bag number you're on across the board. You could obviously share like an Instagram story about how you're building it, but really, what did you want to add more detail, more metadata around the individual activity? And that's what made Brick unique in a sense, because we added video, we have photo now as well. You can add bag numbers, you can add it to wish lists and stuff like that. So there are some similarities there, but the key aspect was trying to find what Lego specific things we wanted to add and what things made the most amount of sense for us to do. So that is kind of where we landed from that piece there. So I started out with a proven concept, I guess, and applied it with different type of criteria to meet the Lego community and what they were looking for. And then it's all about listening to users and seeing what they want to build and what they want in the service, and trying to add more features that meet the needs. So it was a little bit of both. I think that's the kind of answer your question of how we were able to kind of get this off the ground.
That's cool. I mean, I've seen a couple spots now where people have said, okay, so on whatever bag they were on, there's a mistake in the instructions. This instead.
Yeah.
Or, when you get to whatever step, this is awful.
Yep.
And it's great seeing those things. So if you are going to build that set as well, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to brace myself. This is where I stop for the night. I'll start that tomorrow when I'm fresh.
Yes.
I'm not pissed off that I got to do.
I mean, we've all been there. I mean, we've all been in a situation where it's like, oh, I'm building a set like a good example is the Starry Night set, where bag 5 is literally a blue wall of death that we have to build up all the around it. And, I found that information off of Brick. Like someone said, hey, watch out for bag 5. Don't do it. Don't do bag 1 through 4 and then start bag 5 at like at midnight because you're really going to kill yourself from that perspective. So like these information is interesting. And that's not available really anywhere else on the internet right now. Like you have reviews of sets that go from A to B or A to Z, but they don't like stop in between. They tell you what bag 5 is like or bag 6 is like. And more importantly, once you build that set, it sits on your shelf. And if you want to relive the memories, you can go back in the app and see all your build notes for what you thought of. Other folks can do the same thing. So they can glean from your history and your knowledge of it. And it becomes more like a really fun exercise from that end. So that's kind of why I think it's so important for the build notes being a prominent feature of the app. That's very unique and make it interesting.
So how does sharing within the app work? Because it's kind of a social platform, right?
Correct. So you can use Brick multiple ways. If you want to use it as more of a social network, when you add your items to your collection or sets to your collection, you can choose to share that activity to your feed. And anyone that's following you will see that activity and be able to comment on it or like or anything else from that perspective. But say you don't really want to do that, or you want to add stuff to your collection and you don't really want to share that publicly, we also have the option to not share that to the activity. And it just becomes more of a collector's kind of app in a sense where you can kind of store all your information. You still exist in the app as a user, but you don't have to share it to a public feed that people can see from that level. So that's the key aspect of what makes it unique as well. It caters to both sides of the fence. If you're really not into social networking and you don't really care about those things, you can still use the app to collect your Legos and be able to kind of explore them, sort them, filter them, and then seal your collection. Or if you want to engage with the community, which we hope that you do, you'd be able to share that activity to your feed, and then be able to engage with people saying, hey, I like this build or didn't like this build. I had a great example of one recently. I built the Echo 1, the Ghostbusters lawn car there. I had a horrible time putting that last part together. Like the roof of the actual car was so fragile and brittle, I could barely put it on there. I barely got the turning to work. And I posted an activity update saying, hey, I finished the build. I love the first part of it, but the last part was kind of really bad. And I got a bunch of comments saying, oh, me too, me too, me too. So I didn't feel that bad that I couldn't actually fit it. So I think that's the kind of aspect I think that brings the social community to Lego in through Brick, that you can engage with the community and they can respond in ways to kind of stimulate and talk about things a little bit more from that end.
Now, is there a way to share outside of Brick? Like I remember with Untapped, it used to just auto post my Twitter.
Yeah. That was the old days. They actually don't even allow that anymore on Twitter and Facebook and all the other ones. They've stopped the auto sharing, which was, probably a blessing and a curse at the same time. We got a lot of opportunity of people sharing and exposing it, but you can definitely share all your stuff externally, but you have to do it manually. There's a share button on all your activity posts. You can share your collections. You can share your sets or your build notes. You can share them out to Twitter or Facebook or Instagram. We do offer, similar to how we did on Untap, you can share your badges you've earned directly to Instagram. There's a button in there that will share it to a story or anything else from that level. So it's a great way to kind of keep people engaged across the board and add links to there, which is great. We also use Instagram like stickers. So if you want to share, for example, a build and a photo from that end, we'll still put a little Brick sticker on there so people can click on it and see more details. But no automatic sharing, unfortunately. It's not allowed on the platforms anymore as they've tightened them up over the years.
That's a shame.
Makes it a lot easier, right?
Well, that was one of the... So I've never paid too much attention to how I set things. I just click a bunch of buttons and initial setup and then forget what the hell I did and move on.
Yeah.
So it was always fun to me seeing badges like in my Twitter feed. It's like, oh yeah. I did that.
Very cool. Yeah, it was a fun time to like go through that and be able to see all the activity on there. We would basically use it as almost like a status check from that perspective to see how things were going. Just go on Twitter and search for I think it was like UNTP or something like that, the URL, and then we figure out if things are working the way they were supposed to. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was right about the same time. There was some location-based social media thing that was going on.
Foursquare.
Yes, that was the one.
Yeah. Well, Foursquare was a big I would say impetus of what Untap was. Like we use a lot of the Foursquare location database to be able to show people where they're located from that end. But that was a big thing back in the day. I don't think it's not that much used anymore. But yeah, that was a big thing back in the day, location-based stuff.
Yeah. So have you thought about doing something like that with Brick? Or is that dangerous these days?
You can add your location of where you got the set on Brick, so you can do a purchase location, and we support both online retailers like Lego.com or Amazon or whatever, or brick and mortar places like Bricks and Minifigs or Targets or Walmarts. So you can actually specify where you bought it, but I don't think we want to get into the realm of like where you are when you're building the actual set, because that may expose a lot more things. But I think it's important to the purchase location is important because you can tell other users where you got it, and then therefore they can also go check those things out from that end as well. So I think that's what we'll probably focus on.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can say, I got it at Bricks and Minifigs, whatever location people know.
Yeah. And you can actually tap into that location in the app, and you can see all the people that left activity about where they got their sets there and what sets have been purchased recently. So if you ever wanted to take a quick look at what's available at these places, sometimes you could do it from that end. So it's kind of a fun feature to add that location based in there as well.
That's slick. So the BAM store is going to start cutting you a check soon.
I hope so. I have one BAM store close to me. I go there pretty frequently across the board. So hopefully we'll continue down this path, and we'll be able to have some good partnerships down the road for sure.
That would be awesome. Yeah, there's so much potential for fun in this.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it, right? We're trying to kind of encompass the community of Lego fans to one network and platform that's built for them. Like you can definitely go to Facebook and get the same thing, or Instagram or whatever, but it's very broad. It's not directed totally toward the topics that we have. We have features that are Lego specific. We have, we can do video, we can do audio, we can do pictures, we can do everything else across the board. You can filter your collection by retired or non-retired sets. You can find sets out there. You can browse sets from a theme perspective. You can get pricing alerts on whether your sets go on sale and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that we hope that will attract folks in that love Lego and love to collect it and love to store it, and then they stay for the cake and punch, I guess, from that, and all the fun and the discussions from people are having across the board. Because we just recently launched a new discussions feature in the app where folks can ask questions, do polls, and engage with the community outside of just building Lego. Because as much as we love to build Lego 24/7, financially, you probably could not do that from that perspective. So we added the discussions kind of tab to allow users to kind of engage with questions of hey, I want to buy this set. What do you all think about it? Or what set should I build next? What sets are you excited about for April launch? Things of that nature. And that's been really successful in terms of people being engaging on different levels of the platform.
As far as the social side of the app, are you planning to allow users to go live stream almost like TikTok and Instagram?
Yeah, some people have asked about that. The infrastructure to do that thing is actually pretty expensive for a small startup from that end, and a lot of hardware that needs to be done for that. I'd love to be able to link into other tools like YouTube and others to allow us to stream to them and use their kind of stuff, similar to how we're doing this tonight on this particular application. But I think something we've thought about before in terms of having creators being able to do more with their community and do live builds or live streams, but something we're thinking about for sure. It's just a matter of doing it right, because not only do you have to have the technology to stream, but you also have technology to do comments and live chat and all those things across the board. So it definitely gets pretty gnarly from that end, but nothing is impossible, I would say.
Yeah. Nothing is impossible, provided the financial backing is there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Are you doing everything by yourself too, Greg? Or
yes.
You have oh my God.
This is a labor of love side project for myself. So yeah, I have a full-time job. This is not it, as much as I'd love it to be. But this is it's a side gig for me. I don't have anybody else helping me out from that end. And I think the key thing that drives me is the passion of the community and the folks that want to see it grow and are invested in me and give me feedback, and folks like yourself that want to have me on their show and talk about this stuff. That drives me my motivation, because I built this app for myself, obviously, because I have a need for it, but I also for the community. And I think if there's a drive from the community to use it and like it, that keeps me going and keeps me motivated to get it done. So really excited about the future for sure.
So somebody comes into Brick for the first time.
Yeah.
Walk us through the ideal experience. What's the best way to go about that?
Yeah, so if you're new to Brick and you're downloading for the first time, I would say you're probably in 3 buckets of users. The first user is like, oh, I have some Lego, but not a whole lot, and I want to get more social or learn more about Lego. So you basically would open up the app, you'd create an account, and then you start logging or adding your sets to your collection. And you can do this a few ways. You can search for the set. One of the cool things about Lego that I love the most about the data side is that every set has a unique identifier, the set number. No matter what site you're on, that's the same number across the board. So not like the beer world where there was no unique identifier, and it's hard to figure out what beer is in what area. So that's very easy to do from that end. So you can search by the set name or the set number. We recently added a new feature that allows you to search by the picture of the set. So say you have it built, but you have no idea what it was called. It was an older set. We use AI to kind of scan the photo and give the name of it and search it for you, which is a great functionality. Or if you have the manual that has a QR code on the bottom of the individual manual itself, you can scan that QR code and we'll find the set for you as a whole. So that's the first bucket of users, just casually adding their sets, engaging with the community, seeing what's out there. But say you're on the other end of the spectrum, you're a big Lego user, you've used things like Rebrickable or Brickset or BrickLink to manage your collections. We offer the ability to export all your collections for you and import them into Brick automatically, so you can get started right away. And then you can have all your stuff in there. You start organizing it by collection, or you can specify the build dates or the purchase locations and add additional features onto your collection as a whole. And then the last user I would say is the kind of in between, that you have a big collection, maybe you don't have it anywhere else, but you want to add it for the first time. That AI scanning tool is your friend. You can pick a picture of your set. We actually have a new feature too that allows you to take a picture of your entire collection, like behind me, and it will actually find all the names for you and add it in one swoop. So it's a cool way to kind of get on the platform and start getting all your things from that end. But I think the real benefit once you get your sets on the platform is the engagement model with the community and finding out when new sets are getting released. We have a feed of all the new sets that are coming out for Lego, and we have them in the release tab in the Explorer, where you can see what's coming up for April. You can add them to your wish list. You can like the set. You can read more about it. And brand new today, actually, first time I've ever talked about this, actually. So there you go for a little tidbit there. We released a new feature called Set Highlights, where it looks at all the data for people that are adding this to their sets, their build notes, their activity comments, and gives you a digestive summary of how the set is doing. So if you're curious how the set is and if you want to buy it or not, you can read like a digest of everyone's reviews all in one swoop that says, hey, this set is really cool, but there's a lot of problematic building experiences here, or it's kind of very expensive. Everyone's kind of complaining about the prices. You may want to wait for it to go on sale. It's a great way to kind of figure out exactly how to look at the set, whether you want to buy it as well. So we look at it as an all-encompassing Lego product for collecting, discovering, and sharing your sets with your friends. We also support minifigures as well. So if you just collect minifigures from that end, you create your own minifigure collection, and you can add photos of those things as well too to add to your kind of page as a whole. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it from a user experience perspective. You can kind of engage with it in multiple ways. We hope that you'll try it out and give us any feedback.
The minifigure part is extra impressive to me. So we have, aside from this and part too many things we do, we have an investing group that we run, and we pull in a lot of data for that. And getting minifigure information is far more difficult than getting more set information than you'll ever need.
Yeah, it's very difficult because it's not a public database of all minifigs. We use Rebrickable as our primary data source because they have you can download the entire database they have. It's all public knowledge. But the minifig ones, there's no unified ID for them like there are for the set numbers. And they have to be like uploaded their photos. There's no list of all of them. Like you have to kind of figure it out yourself. So we allow users actually to upload a photo of their minifig if we don't have one. we allow them to edit or propose edit so we can improve them on the back end, because that is the hard getting metadata on those things are much harder than it is for the set side. So but we've seen a lot of folks create minifig lists exclusively. We also have the ability to like link them together. So say, for example, you add in a set like the Home Alone set, you can automatically have it pull all the minifigs out of that collection and add it to your own minifigs collection. So you don't have to add it twice. It does it for you. So we try to make it easy as possible to like showcase what sets you have, what minifigs you have across the board from that end.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Yeah, that's insane.
Crowdsourcing the data.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things about Lego that makes it great is the community people, they always want to make things better. So they see something that doesn't look right, they can add a photo to it, they can propose an edit, they can make a change that the community does. The other thing that we actually do on top of the metadata for the set stuff is look at things like number of bags, if it has stickers or not, age groups across the board. So you know, it's cool. Like the first question people always ask for, like oh, how many stickers does it have? We just talked about that beforehand. Like the AT-AT driver, does it have stickers? There's no real information that tells you that on the internet. So if we can crowdsource it, we can get people to update and say, hey, it has stickers. It has 6 bags. Bag 6 has sticker implementation. It's just more data for you to be able to like shoot through and kind of get down to the nitty gritty. And I think that's really fun to be able to be part of that that piece there as well.
Does that AI photo feature that you were mentioning, does it work for minifigures as well if you were to scan?
It doesn't work for minifigures right now. We're looking to train more data on like all that is. So the set data, we actually train the data on their end. So we have all the set photos. So we send the set photos and a set ID to the system, and then knows how to look at it. Minifigs are a little bit more harder to do because getting images of them is so challenging. But I definitely want to add something like that in the future, because it'd be super cool to like go into my Lego set when I was like 11 years old and be like, what set did this come from? I have no idea where this minifig came from. What does it came? So that's something that I love to do in the future, was to get more data, more photos for the minifigs out there.
That'd be awesome, because we have a lot of people that go to like yard and garage sales, and they're always asking like, hey, what's this minifigure? Hey, how much is this minifigure? So a feature like that would be a game changer for a lot of people. Yeah,
I think, you know, there are some apps out there that do this, but they're not 100% accurate all the time. So it's hard to kind of put that together. We just added collectible minifigs scanning QR codes. So if you go the next series that comes out, you'll be able to scan them, and we'll be able to tell you what's inside the box. So that will be helpful for folks to be able to do that. But yeah, I think, you know, trying to figure out the price of these minifigs would be really interesting from a scannability perspective in the future.
The box scanner in an app that actually works.
Yeah,
which is key.
That is something that I wasn't going to do at first, and then I realized I could do it and make it actually work, and so that's a good thing.
Yeah, because I think a lot of us have used another app out there that has that feature that it doesn't work so great.
Yep.
I won't name them because that's just not right. But yeah, it's I mean, well-intentioned for sure, and there's websites that we go to, blogs and whatnot, that have a scanner, but that's really inconvenient.
Yeah, if it's all in one package, it might as well work the same way. So that's what we looked at from Brick's perspective. Like, you're already in there, you're on the home feed, you can tap the plus button, you can scan a QR code for a box for a minifig, but you can also scan it for the actual Lego set. So we just want to make it more flexible in nature if you're curious on what it is. So what I do a lot at Bricks and Minifigs is I'll go and I'll visit and I'll see what this used set is going for at Bricks and Minifigs. And I'll look in the app, and then we have pricing information for brand new ones. I can compare those two together, and I can say, okay, is this a good deal or not a good deal? And then be able to kind of move my way through it. Or if I see something on sale at Target or something like that, I can look back in the app and see what the actual retail price is from Lego and say, okay, 5%, not a huge deal. We'll wait. 20%, that's a pretty big deal. So we also have pricing information in there that we update from Amazon, Target, and Walmart as well. So that helps drive people's curiosity on these things. We also have eBay, but what I found with eBay, and I'm not sure if you know this, but like they're very tricky with their naming system. So if you really want to automate the system where it like tries to find a set number, it's going to like try to like dedupe it and be like the smallest number possible, because that's what it pulls up. Like a great example is the the Super Mario Kart that's got released on Monday or something, or revealed on Monday. There's already a version of the standard cart in a smaller version, but they've fixed it on eBay where like if you search for that set number, it comes up with the wrong one. And now we're telling you a $150 set is $24 and is available today. So it's kind of hard to be able to like automate that as much. So we lean on the other ones that are more solid for price information, so we don't mislead people where they can get sets for cheaper.
Yeah, some of that stuff is tough. eBay's bad. Bricklink is really tough. Yeah, yep. Because you don't know if it's complete or if it's just a partial set. It's all lumped together.
Yeah, and I would love to put the Bricklink stores on Brick. Like we have the option to do that, but when we contacted Bricklink, they are very shy about sharing their API or data with other people. But we do have the ability to like add custom vendors into the platform. So I would love to be able to work with individual store owners if they want to link their data, because that's possible with the API, not a broader perspective there too. So that's interesting.
I will keep a very close eye on that one. I get some bricks I got to move.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, that's really cool. So Bricklink not wanting to share is interesting to me, because if you have Brick's, what's it called, Brick Store, all of Bricklink stuff is in Brick Store, but you can also pull everything from Brick Store, can't you?
Yeah, I guess you can. I think that what I was looking for is like from Bricklink is they have an API that allows developers to link, like Rebrickable has access to it. Brickset do. If you look in their actual like set pages, you'll see links to Bricklink, or you can buy it on a Bricklink store. So like they're all linked together at one time that was open, but they're kind of shutting down, or at least not allowing that service anymore. So what I would like to do is like highlight, individual markets and local stores that have sets available, especially retired ones that folks want to be able to find that are more reliable than eBay. I would consider like Bricklink much more reliable than an eBay of a highly, thought out set. So like I want to, again, the whole point of Brick is to connect communities together. And I think we're doing a great job with the users, but I'd love to be able to like connect with Bricklink store owners. Say, hey, put your stuff on Bricklink or on Bricked, and we'll just link you back to them. People can buy it from you. And if they know you have the set available and you know the price there, you can usually just redirect them to the site. But they kind of want that to be on their own side right now. Maybe in the future that changes and they're able to open up that and more expansion. But as for right now, they that option is not available for developers to take advantage of.
It's a shame. I mean, they're only hurting themselves, right?
We're just trying to give more exposure to people. I mean, we're not on Facebook or Instagram where we're going to give you like millions of views, but I think the community aspect of what we do is so important. I think that is why we'd like to include local store owners, their data on there as well.
Yeah, I mean, and you're in the spot now where, I mean, I could be mistaken, but I don't think you have any real competition.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are some, like, people have asked, oh, is Brickset or Bricklink or Rebrickable competitors? And I don't think so in my mind. They all do things very differently than we do. We're more of a real-time, in-the-moment social aspect when it comes to Lego collecting across the board. So that is something that is very different from what we offer than those sites do. So yeah, I don't think there's a lot of competitors out there. I welcome competitors. I want to make the best app out there. I want to listen to users and want to be the best one people to turn to. So I think it's important to have that out there. But listening to users and finding what to build next is the most important part for us right now.
So is this? I know Brick isn't what you do for a living, but is this the type of work you do?
Yeah, I work as a software engineer. I've been doing this in the space for many, many years. Okay. I think 15 years from that level. So I work in this space all the time. So it's something that I've done most of my career. A lot of times people are like, oh, how do you build an app? Like, what is the process for building an app? And I would tell you, like 10 years ago, it's much harder than it is now. There's a lot of tools and things that can make things you work on the phone and building app without any knowledge of code across the board. But I think one of the interesting parts of the experience that I have is I was great enough to be able to build a social network before, so I can use some of that knowledge that I've learned of what works and what doesn't, how to engage the audience with badges and achievements, and apply that to a new kind of methodology. So what I'm doing when I'm building with Brick is not like the most original idea in the world, but I'm using some of the experiences I've done in the past to build an app that I think really works well with the community. So I've been in this industry for a very long time, and it's great to be able to apply your passions to the things that you love to do every day. So that's kind of why I'm excited about the future of Brick for sure.
That's great. You hear so much about people using Lego as like an escape. Like, all right, my day job's done. I just want to disconnect my brain and just build. You're bringing some of your day job with you. So well,
awesome. I don't build Legos for a living. I wish I did,
no.
But I would say that that definitely is a huge thing for me. That's actually what I love about Lego the most, to be honest with you. Like, I know that I'm a founder of an app that encourages you to kind of log your building stuff, and I'll be on your phone. But there's something very serene about getting and opening up a new bag and working on a bag or two at night, and just kind of relaxing before going to bed, which is what I usually do most of the time, and then kind of logging it out when you're finished. But like, Lego is a huge stress reliever for me. It's a huge way to relax, and I think that it's great to be able to apply even some of your day job or some of your talents to something that you feel so passionate about to enhance that experience. I feel like that's what we've done with Brick, is that it's something that I feel like people can attach themselves to and may be fun and engaging, but also have the same benefits of like mental health, which I think Lego does a great job with in terms of building and collecting and displaying across the board.
Yeah, the mental health thing is huge, and I think it's a conversation that doesn't come up nearly enough. I think it helps a lot of people.
100%. I think even during the COVID years, I think it was a huge benefit to folks having something to do while they were inside from that piece as well. So I think just Lego it's the only thing I know out there that is ageless in terms of people engaging with that particular piece. There's not many products and services out there that can say, I literally can be 2 years old or 100 years old and I can still play with Lego or build it. There are just not many things out there that can say that. So I think they got a unique proposition. When you walk into a Lego retail store or a BAM or whatever, there's all types of people there, young, old, middle, etc. And I think that's very unique and very different about this community, which I really like a lot. And I think it does a lot to the mental health thing as well, like being able to whatever stage of life you're at, it provides some level of gratification. Maybe when you're a kid, it's about playing with minifigs and building all these cool stories. When you're older, it's about relaxing and enjoying the architectural sets or the detailed sets and displaying them or, etc. So it's a very unique ageless talent that I think people get a good kick out from that.
So with all of the things that you're adding, are you looking to monetize in any way? Because as far as I'm aware, everything in there is free, right?
Yes, everything is free. We do offer a premium version of Brick called Brick Builder, which is a monthly subscription or a yearly subscription that gives you extra features in the app, like the ability to filter your sets by age or price or retired or not, be able to search multiple collections. You can do bulk edits across your board, just some extra features that we find that people get an opportunity to use and can support the app. So that's one way that we monetize. It doesn't obviously pay for like everything under the sun, but it gives an opportunity for folks to be able to say, hey, I want to support this app and I get something out of it from a feature perspective. So it's called Brick Builder and it's available in the app for folks to be able to kind of engage with. The future, I'm not really sure. There's opportunities to do things like, affiliate links and all those things that could generate revenue. But right now, I'm focused on the community and building as many features as possible that I can and engaging with folks and finding out where we can take this thing to. And the Brick Builder accounts just help us continue to pay for some of the services behind the scenes of the cost of the servers and everything else to build. But I'm more interested about just building the app for the users right now. And if something else comes down the board for advertisements from that end, we can definitely explore that. we recently partnered with Brick Builder to put all of the brick builds, to put all their catalog into bricks. So now we can actually you can buy their sets from them and you can put them in there as well. So there could be some opportunities there to work with them. But I think for right now, it's all about just building the app and making it sound and not making it crash or be buggy or anything else from that perspective. So that's kind of the most important part.
That's impressive because it's not cheap.
No, but I will say this. One of the things I really hate about the internet is ads. I think it's like the worst thing in the world. It degrades the experience all across the board. I know why they're there. I know you have to make money. I know that is the situation, but I really want to find more ingrained ways to engage with the community. Throwing an ad in a feed that says, "Hey, go buy a coffee maker," is like the most unrealistic thing I can expect from the community. However, if I said, "Hey, here's 10% off to your next Wicked build or whatever, or Rubricable, mock or whatever you want to buy," that makes sense. That's not less of an ad and more of a engagement model. I think makes more sense. And just like on Tap, we have sponsored badges. Maybe that's something that could be done down the road as well with different things across the board. So I want to focus on ways to monetize that make sense for the community and make folks want to be engaged with that content, as opposed to okay, when can I skip this ad? When can I skip this ad? That's like not the greatest experience. I don't want to build that kind of experience. Yeah. So.
I agree. If you try to use Brickset on your phone without logging in, it's an agonizing experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Just that random ad that's in the way of everything.
Yeah, and no disrespect to any of those sites, they've done a great job pioneering everything across the board. It's just very difficult to navigate their site with 15 pop-ups in your face all the time. It's like a news site; you can barely read the content from that end. So, I know why ads exist for revenue perspective, but I want to create a better world where the ads that are shown on Brick, that's what we do in the future, not really sure, are more relevant to the community and something you can engage with, not just something random like home mortgages or coffee makers or I don't know, whatever they offer nowadays. So that's challenging because it's so easy to add in ads and try to blanket everything else and probably make a lot more money. But I'm not willing to sacrifice the app or the community or the experience for that right now because I don't think that's what I think the community wants. And I try to put them first before anything else across the board.
You're better off just contacting Kenny over at Light My Bricks and said, "Give me $1,000 and I'll
exactly. So
we'll work up to that." Man, he's got a great product too.
Yeah, he does. Really, I got a few of his sets on my modular buildings over here, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you using the whatever it is, the 2.0 system?
I haven't done the 2.0. I've only done the original ones. I'd love to do the 2.0 because I think you build with the light set. That's what 2.0 does, right? As you build, that's when you put lights in. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess you can work them in both directions. And
yeah, you can. Yeah.
The actual wires are much thinner than they used to be.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how it's even possible because they had a great product to start with.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a lot better now. So
yeah, I always had a problem when I first used them. It's inserting the pins, the wires, the pins. That was very hard to do without I have bigger hands, so it's hard to kind of put those in there. But once I get a hang of it, it's pretty straightforward, easy to use. But it's lighting is something I've always felt why hasn't Lego done this themselves? They do have the lighthouse, the motorized lighthouse, which was an idea set that has a lighting kit built into it. So I know Lego can do it. The question is, why haven't they done it? And I think Light My Bricks have done a great job in terms of capitalizing on that market, but it'd be great if it was all integrated from the very beginning, so that you wouldn't have to worry about the spacing or the things that you have to kind of fold it over the edges to get them to fit or close down. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in the future.
Well, we'll see if Funhole gives them a run for their money.
Yeah, that's another one too that I think people have been really gravitating to as well. A much cheaper price point and more interesting parts. It's be interesting to see how they do. Again, as a lover of bricks, all things together, I applaud competition and I applaud these things from that level. And it'll be interesting to see how they all come together. I'm sure there's some people who have a really negative. If it's not official Lego, I don't want it on my shelves or I don't want it ever. But I love building all things across the board. So it'd be cool to see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Lego's financials that just came out, they're not suffering from the competition.
No, they're not. They're doing very well. So that's a good thing for them, and probably bad things for our wallets. Even though we've already complained, the prices have been so high for sets, it doesn't seem to be affecting our purchasing habits. So good for them. I guess bad for our wallets, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, with the price hikes, like I'm sure you've seen with the last year with the Speed Champions, they raised the prices to $28, and then they put them on sale so low that they might as well have still been the $24.99 sets.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they just discount them deeper and then laugh at all the people that bought them for the first 3 months before they went on sale.
Yep. I usually buy most of my Speed Champions at Costco. They usually have them on sale at like 10% off, and all the F1s are already like $21 off, I believe, in the US. So like on launch day, I always wait. Like I know Costco will have something. I don't know what they'll have, but they'll have something. Like the Mona Lisa set or the Love set were discounted on day one at Costco by at least 20%. So I always like see what things are not exclusive and what things could pop on their shelves. And you never know, because, like, honestly, like, it's kind of one of the tricks I have with my wife. Like, oh, you want to go to Costco? She's like, yeah, sure. I'm going to Costco for one reason only. It's for Lego. She knows this now, but I think it's a great way to kind of see what's available, because some of the stuff's not available online. You can't see what they have available and their prices from that end. So, a little trick of the trade.
7,000 rolls of paper towels.
Yeah, exactly.
Lego.
Yes. We're going there for all the paper towel rolls, but Lego is obviously on top of my list. So
the truth's out. So that AT driver helmet was a day one purchase for you?
It was. The reason why it was is because I went to, my son really wanted the F1 sets. My son's 8 and he really is into the Speed Champion stuff, and he wanted to go on like the release day stuff. I've talked about it before, and he wanted to experience it himself. So we picked it up on day one. Across the board, I'm sure we'll get discounted the AT driver set soon. It wasn't even like an option on the waiting in line. You didn't even get like a ticket for it. Like it was just, you could pull it off the shelf, and it wasn't like a reserve session. So like, I'm sure, it's a Star Wars Lego set, so it's going to be expensive and in a way higher price point. So folks have to be able to take that with a grain of salt. But I think it was a great. I really recommend this set. I think it's fantastic across the board. But I wait for maybe like, a couple months, maybe it goes on sale on Amazon for like 10% off, and then pick it up from that end. But minimal stickers and printed pieces, so you can't really go wrong with those pieces there. And I'm never going to be able to get the Stormtrooper probably one, because it's way too expensive. So this is the closest I'm going to get to like an actual helmet mask piece there that is Stormtrooper-like, I guess you could say.
Was that your favorite out of the 5 that you have back there?
I think the Boba Fett was probably one of my favorite ones. That's a very classic one. And Darth Vader is like, it's been around forever, so everyone has that one. But the Boba Fett one was interesting across the board. But yeah, that's probably my favorite, I would say, from everything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you got a pretty diverse themes back there.
Yeah, so this fall is more Star Wars stuff, and then some like a Sonic set in the middle. My son plays with it all the time. I have to put it higher on the shelf so he won't like pull the shelf down. And in the middle here, it's like a hodgepodge of winter village sets, and then Home Alone, Brickheads over here, and then like the A-frame, and then the treehouse over on this side. I do have like the Yoda and the R2D2 and the C-3PO on the top here that are cut off. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like, "Oh, when are you getting Chewbacca?" And I'm like, I have glasses. I can barely see those brown pieces anywhere. Like, it's impossible to be able to look at it on the printed manual. How am I going to be like not want to kill myself when I actually try to put them together? So maybe in the future. I had a hard enough time with the Statue of Liberty putting that together. I can imagine what the browns look like for the Chewbacca stuff. But maybe in the future that'll be something that I do.
We could check the build notes on Brick, right?
People are saying the same thing. It's like, use the digital notes, or like use the 3D Builder app, because your eyes are gonna hate you after that from that side. So, but yeah,
building with an actual screen is so much easier.
It is, but I don't like it as much.
It changes the experience for sure.
There's something about turning that page and like looking at the stuff that I don't know how to describe it. Like, as a parent too, like I don't really want my kids to build. I don't want them on devices all the time either. So like I want them to like look at the manual and be able to do it. But like there are just some things where like I find myself taking a picture with my phone and then zooming in on the phone just because I want to be able to see it. Like it's such a horrible thing to do, but I've done it. And you know the BrinkLink Designer program, they do not come with printed manuals. So the latest release that came out, I think the Series 3, I got the Harbor Master, and I built the General Store, which was the one from Series 2 or Series 1. And that was my first experience using like the actual like Builder app on an iPad. I just didn't like it as much. I know it's probably easier. You can sort it, you can turn it around, you can look at the 3D. Yes, but it just didn't feel the same to me. So I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers from some folks out there, but to me, I prefer the physical manual in my hand. There's something about that that's very unique to me.
That's what everybody was scared of last year, was when they were rumored to take away the physical manual. I think they opened it to vote to the public, right?
They did.
Yeah. So
they put it out there and they retracted that pretty quickly across the board once they found out that people were like raising pitchforks and ready to storm the campus there.
Anyway, to cut costs, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can't be cheap. Those are printed color manuals for these bigger sets. They're 400 pages. Like it's definitely not cheap. But again, that I don't mind paying for that. That's an experience to me. That's part of the builder experience. Is like getting that thick manual and being able to like go page by page. I understand there's like an environmental concern there. You're printing a lot of paper there. But I've yet to get paper bags. I know I've seen them all out. I always get plastic bags. So, you know, when is that going to change? I'm not sure. But I get it. I just love the booklets. I collect them all. I save them in a file cabinet. My wife's like, why would you save the booklets? I don't know why I save the booklets. I just want to save them. But yeah, there's just something special about those for me.
Yeah, I buy manuals in bulk.
Yeah.
When I see a good deal on them. And I'll go and I'll build old sets from old manuals.
That's awesome. And very cool.
Most of the time, that's a really good experience.
Yeah.
But like you said, there are some times where the colors are so bad.
Yeah.
My eyes aren't so great, or it's an old manual, so there's a wrinkle right over a piece that I can't figure out where to put it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I bought the pet shop modular from Bricks and Minifigs, and it was built, and I deconstructed it, and they came with the manuals. So I'm like, oh, I deconstructed it, and then I had these old manuals that were like the Creator Expert, I think it was back then, of these things. And the coloring of the gray versus the light gray were like indistinguishable. I could not see it or understand which one was which. I'm pretty sure I messed it up completely across the board. I'm looking from memory or like looking at pictures online, trying to figure out what is right. But it's like they've come a long way from the printing perspective, from where the colors from that end. But still, brown is the only thing I struggle with to this day and age. It's very hard to see where the line is, how many pieces go ahead of it, or what the number of studs before or after. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I don't understand why they make it so bad.
Yeah.
Because you would think, especially they make, I don't know, physical goods.
Yep.
And they deal with lots of colors.
Yeah.
You would think they would understand colors well enough to be able to print them clearly.
Yeah.
We've seen them fail in every aspect of the digital world.
Yeah.
You know, it's from Hidden Side and what was the little music one they tried for a little minute there? Whatever that was.
Yeah.
I forget what that was. Doesn't matter. It only lasted a year and a half or something. So they always fail at digital. So get your manual stuff right.
Yeah.
Like do that one thing for us.
Yeah. It's even bad with the old architecture sets, the Skyline sets. They printed them with black on the background, and they have most of the pieces are black anyways. When you place them on the small things, it's almost impossible to do that. And, you know, folks don't remember this if they have not built a set in the last like couple of years. There used to be sets that have no bag numbers, like the New York City Skyline set had no bag numbers. It had 5 bags that pop out. They're not numbered. You have to empty every single bag and then try to find the pieces. It's just madness. Like it's not a great building experience across the board. So I think they improved a lot. The printing has got a lot better, I will say, on newer sets from sure. And like they look at different angles and stuff like that. But I would love for them to like the colors, like just please like focus on the colors as like making them super clear that this is it. With the Starry Night set, because you have different shades of blue, there's like a set instruction where they ask you to place the bricks to the side in the color order. And you have, like, if you're like a hint colorblind, you have no idea what you're doing at that particular point. It's like very hard to distinguish those things. And I wish that those things got better with just the instruction manuals and the process as a whole. And they're getting there, but there's times where an old man like me is tough to be able to see those things.
That's a good point.
So, talking about bag chaos is. So if you buy a bulk lot from a yard sale or something, the numbers on the bag outside of the bag number itself, are what do you call it? It's warehouse, manufacturing plant and date.
Mm-hmm.
They don't reference the set in any way.
Yeah.
Other than looking for unique parts in the bag, has anybody determined any way to identify them?
Not that I'm aware of. Most of the time, people pick a picture of it and say, I found this bag in my closet. Anyone know what set it goes to? And then it's just a crowdsourced activity of like someone actually knowing that and chiming in. It's very difficult, like you mentioned, to do that unless you know the exact parts for each little bag, or if they're unique ones that are identifiable on there or something of that nature. So it's very hard to be able to do that. I know that there's some apps out there that help you kind of figure out what to build from a set of Legos. Take a picture of it, and they basically like tell you what things you can build, but it's not official sets. They're just like mocks or like, birds or whatever you want to build from it. So yeah, I think it'd be really challenging unless there's a list that Lego has of like every piece in every bag, and you can tie it back from that level. My understanding is just one giant part list for the entire set, and it's not broken down by, okay, this first bag has this many pieces and stuff like that across the board. Maybe they have something on their own end in their own system they don't ever share with anybody. I've never seen any data sources that allow that to happen across the board, which would be great to have access to those things. Because not only would it help like yourself, like a bulk buy, but there are times when you build, you put the wrong piece in the wrong area, and then 10 bags later, you're like, where the hell did that thing go? Did I even get 3 of those from that end? And then you're stuck figuring out where you messed up across the board. So it'd be great to know like how many pieces are in each bag and which pieces are there. And so you'd be able to cross-reference. You don't drive yourself crazy at the end of the day trying to figure out which step you messed up and go back into your backlog and try to find the missing piece, or have to contact Lego to get it from that end. So it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that gets rough. You should only have, it's 1x1 studs and miscellaneous things of that size left over. But then somehow you have 2 1x2 plates left.
Yeah, you're screwed.
Uh-oh. And then you turn it around and the whole thing is just slightly cockeyed.
Oh, yeah, no. Exactly. That's a good scenario. Yes, you see it visibly. Sometimes you don't even see it at all. And you have no idea what you did wrong. And you're flipping back the pages one by one, figure out where these pieces were. And you're like, oh, crap, it's not on this bag. It's from another bag. How did I even notice that? So, like, you really screwed up at that point.
That's why that door doesn't close.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's in Bricklink. Yes, in Bricklink. You can search by entering in, I think it's up to 3 parts, and it'll search and find sets that have each of those 3 parts in it.
Yeah.
Which helps for some of those bags, but it doesn't help enough.
Yeah. Well, it gives you part of the pieces of the puzzle, and then you figure the rest of the stuff out on your own. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting from all avenues there.
Yeah. I had, what was the one we got the other day? It was the first Harry Potter set with the big snake in it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget which set that was. And it was a bulk buy, and I found 2 of the bags, and I could identify them by the minifigures.
Right.
I was thrilled. This buy is going to be great. I'm so excited. Here's the bag. Yeah, that was all that was in there.
Jeez.
Oh, well. The rest of the lot was pretty good, but
yeah,
it was disappointing.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm excited. So The more we talk about this, the more I'm just ready to dive into this app and do stuff here.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that I think, it gives people an opportunity to kind of engage with the community in a different way. And I think that is not something that we've seen that much in the Lego community besides Instagram and Facebook. And again, those are broader, less niche-based communities. So I think it, Brick is an opportunity for folks to be able to like research sets, scan them, look at the pricing, see what their friends have thought about those sets, see kind of the highlights of what's good about the set, whether you should pick it up. And see what's trending. We also have trending data on like what are the most popular sets people are adding to their collection right now, what are the most popular viewed sets across the board. Like for example, the Mario release on Monday reveal, it was like the most added to your wish list. I think since we started, I think 50 people added it like within the first couple of hours to their wish list. So I just made it a very, very popular set from that end. So I think it's just great to see the community coming together and be able to like rally around the app. And again, like I mentioned, I'm building this for the community. Like I'm not a funded entity. Like I'm not a crazy VC investing. I'm building it for the people. So that's why I put them first with everything that we do. If you ever contacted me over email, you're probably like, why is this guy responding in 20 seconds? Does he have a life? And I'm like, I do have a life, but I want to make sure that I get attention to the community as much as I can, where I can, and building the best features forward. So it's really important to me to be able to have that.
So looking at it here, I'm in the Explore tab.
Yep.
And right away it says, because you like Brickhead, Scooby-Doo, Creator 3-in-1, whatever. You're making some recommendations there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We use all the data from your current sets that you added to your collection to give us a slew of the themes that you like. And then we have some algorithms behind that to weight them based on popularity, weight them based on retired status. We don't really recommend you a set that's retired that you cannot get anywhere or not pay like an enormous amount of money. And then we look at sets that have been released in a certain time period and then rank them and order them for you to be able to pick from. So that's the kind of cool features as well, to be able to discover new things that you may not have known for that.
That's fantastic. And so scrolling down a little bit, we get badges. Those are fairly self-explanatory.
Yep.
And then reviews. So how are reviews chosen?
Yeah. So when we first started Bricked, I basically wanted to showcase all the community influencers, or the ones that talk about Lego all the time, and highlight their reviews in there. So I manually went into all their YouTube pages and copy their link and ingest them into the platforms. Folks should watch those reviews in app, but also be able to watch them on YouTube. So the creators got revenue or whatever they had to do from that end. And now we've opened up our program called the Bricked Creators. So you can actually sign up as a creator. I think you have, Ken, for your end, where you can actually add in your own reviews of your sets. So you have to a platform that get added into that carousel. So if you get a new set and you want to add a review on YouTube, and you want to ingest it to the platform, you can do that as well from that end. So that's how we kind of do it from that end. That list you see on that Explore tab is just a chronicle list. The most recent reviews show up first, but all the reviews are tagged to a set. So if you go on the set page, you'll be able to see those reviews too as a tab up to be able to look for them. So a little bit of combination of both. Some of the bigger reviewers out there will just watch for their content and add them in there, or you can sign up as a creator as yourself and add them as your own from your creator tools in the app from that end.
Awesome. So for these, now you mentioned you put some of the creators in yourself.
Yes.
Is it also looking for specifically for set names or set numbers, or is it just pulling in all of the content that they do?
It's pulling in specific content. So it's not everything in there. I actually have a feed of all of the creators and their YouTube pages, and I'll go in there on a regular basis and say, okay, this is a set. I filter on the title of the video as a review, and I'm not going to add a vlog or something like that of them shopping at a store or something, but it has to be a review piece there. And sometimes reviewers will review multiple sets at once, and the system only works as a one-to-one relationship. I want to include those as well. So when they review one set, like the Jurassic Park set just came out, I'll link those directly in there and manually do it. So it's not automated. It's a manual system that I go in there and kind of tag those pieces there, and they show up in the app from there. And again, We don't copy the whole video over. We actually link out to YouTube, so you're still watching the content on YouTube. They're still getting views for their content. They're still getting any monetization from them. So we don't want to like steal their content or anything of that nature. It's more about just sharing it and exposing it to more people on Bricks from that end. Is the way we look at it from those people that are the bigger reviewers out there.
That's awesome. And then you got sets of the day. How do those happen?
So it's a random algorithm that gives me 3 sets out of the entire Lego population, and they're organized in size. So there's a small version, which is I think less than 300 pieces, and then a medium 300 to like 800 or something. I forget the numbers in between. And then the last one is the large sets out there. It's done once per day. You can take a look at that. It's just kind of more of a nostalgia look because it doesn't look at all sets ever created from ones that are built back in the early 1900s or whatever day that they started on this, or more recent from that end. So it's more of a nostalgia feature to see what the set of the day is for those 3 different ranges.
That's cool. And then latest sets, pretty obvious what that is.
Yep.
There's something else I saw in here I wanted to ask about.
We also have a leaderboard section as well on the top, which is a new feature we added in recently. With everything is very internet's very streak driven, so we're giving opportunity for people to like be on a streak for how many times that you've used the app in consecutive days. You also have leaderboards for number of pieces built in a given month, which is great across the board, number of sets you built from that end. So that refreshes every single month. So if you built a lot of sets in a month, you can be number 1 on the leaderboards. So it's a great way to kind of like engage and gamify a little bit the community of Legos. We want to be really careful about this and like not make it all-time, number for built, because if you're like a millionaire or win the lottery, then you automatically dwarf everybody in terms of being able to buy every set on the planet. But if you built a lot of Lego sets that month, then you can get to the top of the leaderboard, and you can do that every month because it resets. And then the streaks is obviously about just being able to like log into the app, add a comment, add a like, add a set to your collection. You go to your profile page, you'll see your streak count, and your stats will also show you more information about where you sit in the entire ecosystem, because they only show you the top 10, I believe, of people on that leaderboard, but you can see where you sit in the entire user base from that end. So, but yeah, that's what the leaderboard section does. Just gives you more information about how you're doing with the rest of the community in terms of Legos.
Hey, Brick Lever Brad, what that? It's a familiar face.
Yes.
1700s. What? How can that be? 1700 sets?
Yeah, he imported all of his sets from Bricklink, Brick sets. So he had a bunch of sets, I guess, in there that are in there. So yeah, that's kind of how it works.
That makes sense. Okay, good for him. That's wild. And number 1 under total pieces built is almost 300,000.
Yeah, remember a lot of these folks they just joined the app like in the month of March, for example, and they import their entire collection from what they had before. So it all counts for their build count. So they didn't build it in 1 month, but they built it in the month that they created it, unless they've changed their build dates, because you can specify when you built something. But I imagine most folks are not going to go back and say like try to change it on all of them on there. But it changes every month. So like basically that person will not be on the list anymore, or it will change when we go to April from that level. So it gives you the opportunity to kind of growing up the leaderboard, from a lack of a better word.
Yeah. Okay. So even if they upload it all at once, still the fact that they put that much effort into cataloging everything, that's impressive.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow. Good for them. That's really cool. Where did I see over here? For users to follow, is that random? What's that based on?
Yes, the users to follow, we do have some promoted users on there, and we just kind of rotate that with folks that are engaging with the platform, or folks we've noticed that are like using the app for often and what have you across the board. So those will show up first, and the rest are randomized across the board. On the activity feed or the homepage, in the second section, there'll be another users to follow that is tailored toward you. So basically, that means that it looks at mutual followers, someone on Instagram, and sees who's following similar people that you follow, and then recommend them for you to follow them as well. We do have the same thing that shows up on the suggested users as well, but it's not as tailored as the home feed is from that end. But the most important part of Bricked is finding friends and finding people out there. So we want to be able to give you tools and services to be able to like find out who your social network is and where you can follow the same people that you're following on Instagram and everybody else. So if you follow them, they'll show up on this list and they start joining. You'll be able to kind of see them pop in those categories there.
Is there a DMing feature on Bricked?
There's a chat feature as well. It's in the home section or the home tab or the feed tab. At the top left, there's a notification bell and then also a chat bubble, and you can open up a chat with your friends. More importantly, on every single set detail page, you'll see a big blue button that allows you to send the set to your friend. The biggest thing I use this for is I see a set that I'd love to send it to a friend or get their purpose. You can send the set to your friend as a DM, and you can comment and engage in a conversation there privately from that side. So that's the main purpose of it from that end, is to be able to engage and DM friends around Lego content and link directly the set in that conversation so you can see and talk about these things. So there is a DM feature as well there.
That's great. So you can do that so many different ways. You can DM them and say, hey, I was just at this store. I found, clearance 50% off. Go check it out.
Yes.
Or it can be, I'm building that set you told me about. Thank you. This thing's great.
Exactly. So we also want to be a safe environment too. So you have to mutually be following each other to be able to start chatting. Where Instagram is like, I think you can set it to be open for everyone to be able to DM if you want to. Where for us, we initiate a chat or you're allowed to chat as long as both users follow each other. So that gives you a lot of more privacy and control over who can comment on you. And you can turn off chat altogether too if you don't want to engage with that as well, because we want this to be a very safe space and people engage with that piece there. So it's also some security features as well.
And so our go profile here. So this says, this is the Brick Builder. $20 a year.
Yeah, $20 a year, or I think it's like $2.99 a month if you want to from that end. We think it's pretty reasonable considering all the things you're going to get across the board there. But more importantly, it gives you an opportunity to support Bricked and give something back from that end that helps maintain the services and everything else we do from that end. And, we just dropped a merchandise store. You can buy like Brick shirts as well now. And you get discounts on those particular pieces of merchandise, hats, T-shirts, stuff like that. So, we think it's a great way for folks to be able to engage with the community. We've been floored on the number of folks that have been able to sign up so far. So it's been great to see all the things that they've been able to help bring the app for sure.
All right. So next big question: are you going to Brick World this year?
Yes, yeah. I am planning on going to Brick World this year. I don't have a lot of obviously like money to do a big booth, something like that. But I think the idea that I'd love to do at Brick World is just be able to talk to folks and be able to engage within the community there. Maybe do some like little parties here and there along the board. But I would definitely love to bring this to conventions across the board to just engage with the community and see what we can do to help build better products and services for them. So I think it's a natural progression to try to take this on the road and see what we can do from that end.
Awesome. So, I wonder, how hard would it be to come up with a QR code that goes directly to your Brick profile page?
That'd be easy. I could do that tonight. That would be like almost like the Instagram tag thing that you can scan that. It goes to your Instagram page, something like that.
Yeah. So I'm going to be I'll be at Brick World as well for whatever. Tanya, what are we going? 5-6 days? We're in Brick World. 6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 6 days we'll be at Brick World. So I should just put a Brick QR code on my sleeve.
There you go.
Put it right
I'll make that happen for you. All right. Tomorrow I'll be done.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, again, it's all about being able to share your profile and share your experiences. And I think it's great to be able to like say, hey, check out my brick profiles, check out my collections and stuff like that from that end. One of the cool things we added for Brick Builder members is you can actually add a picture of your whole collection as a profile photo as opposed to your collection page. So if you go to my profile on Brick and you look at my collection, you can see like a picture of my backdrop of my entire collection from that end. So it gives more customization and more things to like share to your audience on like what your collection looks like, besides just looking at the standard photos that they're in there. So we're all about personal ability across the board. I think a QR code would look really great. We already have QR code scanning in the app to begin with, so it'd be very easy for us to add that QR code as well to be able to scan it.
That would be cool, because I mean, if it's a networking event, and you're promoting a networking app,
nice.
That could be a good mix there.
I agree. Good suggestion.
Yeah, like that. Okay, so I'm looking at my profile here, and I have Instagram and YouTube linked. Yep. How does that work? Oh, yep. All you have to do is touch it, and off you go.
Yeah. So you can add in your YouTube link or your Instagram link or any other link if you want. So if you want to add like a website or something like that in there, you can do that too. That allows you to kind of customize and get people to know more about you and your other things that you offer. A lot of YouTubers put their stuff in there as well. So it's a great way to kind of monetize or not monetize, but at least get more viewers from that piece. You can also add in your YouTube content as well as discussion items. We see a lot of YouTubers add in like, hey, I just built this Tudor corner with lighting and I did a video about it. I want you guys to check it out. You can add a discussion topic and link directly the video from YouTube in there, and it'll play natively in the application as a whole. And also as a creator, you can see analytics on how your content's performing. So you can see how many views that your discussion got, how many click-through rates, how many plays from video content. It's all kind of encompassed in this platform and the creator tool section in your profile. So, and I realize as I'm talking here, there's a crap load of features that I built in this app across the board. Yeah. So I realize there's a lot to digest at one point, but I think the idea is to get as many features out there as possible and see which one sticks, and then invest in those to see where those turn. Not a lot of folks use the creator tools just yet, but I hope that in the future we get more creators on the platform doing things like this. They'll use these features and it'll be really popular for them to see that.
Yeah, that's great. So tonight, well, not tonight because it's going to be too late by that time I have a chance. I just got Maleficent's Dragon Form.
Nice.
Which the set is junk and I have no interest in it, but I finally have the dragon.
Nice.
Very
yes.
So that's the next build. I've wanted that dragon long before they decided to release the set. So
yep, nice.
I'm thrilled it's finally here. And I'm just going to part out and sell the rest of it.
Nice. There you go.
Why did they build that set? The tiny little castle.
Yeah, with a huge dragon. I don't understand that from that side. Yeah, one thing you just mentioned that interesting that I didn't bring up before is that we also offer in the app to set a set condition. So if you have someone who likes to add in, I have like one sealed set and one open set, you can add multiples to your collection too and specify what type of condition each set is in. And we also offer the parted out stuff. So a lot of folks say to us, hey, I want to log that I have the Jabba sail barge, but I just parted it out right now for the minifigs and everything else. So you can add that to your collection and say you parted it out so you know which ones are in there, which ones are actually like I built or I have it sealed or I have it parted out across the board. So it's a great way to kind of do all those aspects in one setting. Cool.
Have you thought about a marketplace option?
We have. I've actually talked to a few folks on this front around marketplace stuff. It gets dicey when you talk about payments and making sure that things are sound. And BrickLink has a lot of people that work on that part of their application to make sure that you send the actual product and you get ratings and reviews and all those things across the board. It may be hard to do as a one-person operation, but I want to find ways to leverage existing platforms like BrickLink to be able to bring that in there. I don't think I have to recreate the wheel from a marketplace perspective, but I'd love for BrickLink customers or store owners to be able to say, hey, Brick is another avenue that I can explore to allow my stuff to be seen there and purchased from my original site, but my data gets showed there so that I can do there. But marketplace is something that I'm thinking about, and the best way to tackle that and have the best results, given the size of me, or the size of the team, which is me.
And you almost have to offsite that as well, because if any of that processing counts as your revenue, the App Store takes such a huge cut of that as well.
Yes.
It's not. Yeah.
Well, the good thing is, we are in a small business program with Apple, so we do get a larger. We don't have to pay 30% for our transaction. We get it's 15 or something like that. So it's much more nicer. But if someone buys a physical good, like a Lego part, we don't have to pay them anything. But if they buy a digital something, like a subscription or something, that's when we have to pay them from that end. So if we did sell an actual part or a set or something like that, that would be fine. It's like Amazon selling something; they don't have to give any fees back to Apple. But I think it's something to think about for the future for sure, and see what's available.
Okay. All right. So if you did like a Shopify integration, that kind of thing, then the App Store doesn't hit you on any of that because it's a physical good.
Correct. The App Store only hits you when it's a digital good or a subscription model, and they force you to use the in-app payment system, and that's where it triggers the 30% to go through Apple.
Okay.
But if the physical good, you're buying like a set from somebody, and you can use Apple Pay, you can use whatever you want. They don't take a dime of those things. It's just the digital subscription services that they take 10% off of.
Okay, so you offering brick merchandise through whoever you use in there, Printify.
Shopify, Printify and Shopify. Yep. Yeah, that's no fee there. Yeah, cool. So I can link directly in the app to say, hey, go check out our merch and buy it, and then we'll ship it to you. And I don't have to pay Apple, or I don't get flagged by their services because it's a physical good. But if I was saying, hey, go to my Shopify page and buy a $50 gift card to your Brick Builder account, I couldn't do that because it's a digital reward or digital thing, and therefore they would want a percentage of that piece there of the pie. So anything digital, they say that they have to use the Apple ecosystem for. Anything physical, they're not involved with those things from the day.
That's interesting.
Even ads. So if you go on Instagram and you want to buy an ad, you have to pay an Apple fee because it's a digital thing you're getting from an ad perspective, and it's coming through the platform. So you get charged 30% on all that stuff there for ads. So if you go to the mobile web, mobile Safari, or just your desktop computer, there's no additional fee associated with it. So that's an interesting perspective on how they dealt with the ad system over the years with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all those things.
So, but you can go on, say, TikTok or something and buy an ad spot to advertise for your app.
Correct, but I still have to pay 30% on top of that because the ad is digital, so it's not a consumable good, and therefore they'll charge it. So TikTok will charge 30% on top of the fee. So say the fee is like $10, they're going to charge you $3 extra to cover the fee from Apple, because what's going to happen is Apple will take the payment of that particular fee, and they'll charge 30% onto that particular piece to keep for themselves. And TikTok wants that 30%, so they'll charge it back to the consumer from that end. So that's mainly how these systems work. That they pass that tax, in a sense, onto you, as opposed to eating it on their end from that side. So all ads are considered digital goods, and therefore they're taxed by Apple.
Okay.
And I'm not sure Android, I don't know if they do that nowadays, but I don't think they do that for the Pixels. They don't require you to do that. It's just Apple that has this restriction right now.
Okay. So I'm using an Android, so you're obviously available there.
Yeah, we are. Yep.
Is that a lot different process?
To submitting it, or being on their store or their policies? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's getting yourself into the store. So.
Yeah, I think it's much easier on Android to go through the store. Apple, you really have no idea when they're going to review it or what they're going to say. I've been rejected at least 10 times now with my app for things that have been in the app for many, 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 many times. So you never know what you're going to get. You could get a reviewer that's very particular about the policies and not understand why something is the way it is. For example, Apple requires you to put the terms of service for your app in a place where it can be viewed. So we put that in our settings page because that's kind of where everything else goes for like the terms and services nobody else reads. So it's been there for like 100 releases. And then like about 2 weeks ago, we got rejected because they say it now needs to live on the same page as your in-app purchase, the brick builder. So I added it back to that one. And then 2 weeks later, I got rejected again, saying it needs to go back to the other page that I had before. So it's very inconsistent from that perspective on like where things go. Google is like, I've never been rejected from Google, knock on wood. I've never had been reached out by one of their people asking for what the status is. The only thing they ever asked me to do is like put an age rating on my app. That's the only thing I've ever done with them from a policy perspective. Their review process is pretty quick. It takes about 15, 20 minutes sometimes. Sometimes takes longer to get into the App Store. The App Store review on Apple can take as long as 3 days. Sometimes it takes like a day. You just don't know, which makes it so much more harder to release features because if you mess up or put a bug out there, you have to wait. You're under the mercy of Apple to be able to like push out a fix for you. So easier Android, I would say for sure, because you can deploy as much as you want and get it out there. And the policies are a little bit more lenient, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's different animal, different company, I guess you could say from that.
So for Apple, if you go and you add a new feature, do you have to tell them you're adding a new feature, or do you just do it and wait for them to notice?
No, I don't tell them. I don't have to tell them really anything. They're looking at the app and making sure that the app adheres to their policies they have in place. So, for example, if I add in an extra payment feature, I have to tell them how it works, and I have to tell them like where to test the functionality, and they go ahead and do it, and they make sure it works. But sometimes like they'll look at the policy like, oh, you need to add in like reporting mechanisms for like abusive accounts, and I have them in there, and they just have not looked thoroughly. They'll just reject it off the bat. So I have to like write a comment and say, hey, here it is. Here's how it works. Go back and redo it. And then they have to go back and do it. And you get put back in the queue and you get back there. So like, you don't have to tell them anything. You can put some notes in the review and say, hey, I added this feature, nothing too crazy. And you can let them know. But like, I've always found it doesn't really help you or hurt you. So it doesn't really make my time any useful to add it in there. But you just don't know. Like, you don't know if it's going to get released tonight or it's going to get released in a week. It's really hard to figure that stuff out because it's such a non-standard process for the review for that side. For Google, it's very straightforward. I put it up there. I ask them to review it. It's pretty much live within 30 minutes. So typically my workflow is I'll do the iOS or the Android or the Apple side first, get that in a state where it's ready to be approved and distributed. And then I'll do the Android. I know they'll go at the same time because the Android one will be really quick across the board. So that's the way I worked on it.
Yeah, I think that's an underappreciated aspect of this whole thing.
Yeah.
We all go and grab, whatever app we're looking at. It's like, this is great. Shiny things to do.
Yeah.
There's so much other work involved in all of it.
Yes. People don't realize how much work it is to actually get the app on the App Store. Like, developing is one thing, but getting it onto the App Store with all the configuration, all the push notifications, all the licensing, the naming, the trademarking, the privacy policies, like all that other stuff out there almost takes as much as it does to develop the app from that end. So like, that's why a lot of folks just develop on the web nowadays, because it's much easier to just push whenever you want. There's no restrictions. It just works everywhere on every phone. But we're still in this app world. People still love to download apps, and that's the only thing that really matters right now. But it's a lot of work to just get it in the store. But once you do it once, it's done, and you don't have to really worry about it anymore. But that first initial part, like, it takes time and takes energy and effort to do all those things.
How long did it take you to get onto the App Store?
I think the first release took about a week. That was just review time. And then the rest of the other stuff took about another week or 2 weeks to get it together. Of all the configuration stuff that's going there. I think it definitely took me less time to develop the actual app itself than getting onto the store. There's no question about that. I think it took me a couple of weeks to get it developed and all the features that I wanted to do, but to get it deployed and like approved, it took much longer to do that for the App Store. Google, not that much. Like, the first release, they wanted to review some privacy policy stuff. Once you get past that hurdles, then you're all good. And it's tough when you're a single like developer like doing on the side. Like, I don't have a lawyer to write a privacy policy for me. I don't want to pay like a lawyer to do that. So you just use the templates that everyone else uses on the internet from nowadays, and that's how you got to get past those things. But yeah, it's definitely more challenging to get up there to get the app into the store for sure.
So was it a website prior to being on the App Store, or did you just launch it?
I launched it as an app, so it was never like a website overall. We launched the web version after the app went live for the first couple of months, so I went back and did it on the web. But I had done a couple apps before, so I knew what to look for and knew how to accelerate it. But if I was brand new at this, like, I would be ChatGPTing this thing to the wazoo, trying to figure out how do I move this forward in the right direction. But luckily, I had the experience to be able to know where the gotchas are and how to document clear and know what they're going to say. Ask these questions about, like, I'm not a corporation, I'm not an LLC, I'm an individual developer, and laying all these facts out there. That helps significantly make the process faster. But I've heard horror stories from other folks waiting in lines for months and not knowing what the status is, not knowing how to reach out to these folks. So it's hard. It really is hard to get the apps to the store. And I think it gets lost a lot. People are using your apps on their phone. Unless you're like a big company like a Facebook or a DoorDash, like, you have no contact with these folks. Like, you just literally are waiting and hoping that they approve your app, and you're at the mercy of it. Like, I think one time they rejected it because it didn't look right on iPad. I'm like, I don't even work on iPad. My app's for an iPhone. Like, oh, you have to have it on an iPad, so it has to do this. So I had to figure it out and make it work. Like, you're at the beholders of whatever they say to control your destiny from that end. So it helps. Like, I'm very appreciative of the App Store being out there. Without the App Store, I could not have an app that people would download. So I'm definitely appreciative of it. But sometimes, like, I would definitely be more accepting of a consistency aspect of the process, like being consistent with all the review process. And every time I go through it, I know what to expect. I know how long it's going to take. That'll be very huge for me. But right now, it's a dartboard. You just hope that everything goes through. And when you get rejected, you're just like, damn, like, I must have got a really like strict reviewer that day or something like that. So, but it is what it is.
It sounds an awful lot like trying to sell on Amazon.
Yeah, pretty much. Very similar.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. So what age range is your app for? What did you decide there?
Yeah, great question. So they have an automatic age grouper that you just tell it what your app does, and it will give you an age from that end. So when I did it, it came up as 4+, and I definitely wouldn't consider anyone joining at the age of 4 to Bricked. But once you set that age gate, you're not allowed to change it for a period of time. So it still is listed as 4 in the App Store. And I've been trying to get that changed for quite some time, but it doesn't allow me to do that because I went through this age verification thing at the very beginning. But I would say that our target market for users is more A-folds. 18+ is kind of where I geared most of the user base for. And that's what most of them have used. Again, most of the sets are more 18+ people log to their collections. Obviously, we support every single set Lego makes across the board, but it's geared toward more A-folds across the board as our primary audience.
Now, do you think when people go into the App Store or whatever, and they see that it's 4+, do you think that changes their mind whether they want it or not? Do you think an age change would matter?
I don't think people look at that number as much as people think they do. And then they look at the screenshots, and I think you look at the screenshots first and see this is probably not an age for 4 and up. Like, I have a 4-year-old, and like the 4-year-old games on the App Store are like very bright colors and big buttons here and there. So I think people see the images and they think it's a mistake or something like that. But I do want to correct it. I think it's the right thing to do to give more confidence to folks across the board. But again, if somebody was like, social networking, you have to have Google or Apple ID to sign up for the service. We don't allow you to put in just an email and a password for that. It's like you can't be 4 years old and have a Gmail account. Maybe you can. I don't know. I've never even checked, to be honest with you. But you just can't. I don't think even it would work. So like, maybe you can download it across the board. But like, it's not like Untapped, which is beer and alcohol. So it had to be 18+ anyways before you even get started. This is very different, where we don't have a lot of content that could be age sensitive across the board. It's Lego. It's ageless, like we talked about before. So, but I do want to make sure that that's super clear what we're trying to market it for, and not like saying we want like 8-year-olds on the service from that end.
Yeah. Yeah, it would kind of change the whole dynamic to have.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever looked at the age rating on an app. Well, that I was downloading for myself. I also have kids. They're 8 and 3, so you look for them, right?
Yep.
But for myself, I've never even noticed.
Yeah, I do for my kids all the time. I have an 8 and 4-year-old, so I know exactly what you mean. Like a lot of these games on the App Store, the ads that come with these things are absolutely insane for that age group. But I look at the age number for that, and I try to encourage it. But for myself, like I don't really look at that.
Yeah, I go. A lot of times, I'll go past the screenshots and go right to reviews.
Yeah,
and so, this lags. This is broken. This is broken. This is broken. And it's funny because you'll get 2 or 3 that just ramble. And it's like, okay, I've been around long enough to know that every complaint I'm seeing here is a user error. Why are you leaving this review? These are all your problems.
Yeah, it is. The funny thing is people use those reviews for tech support, and we don't have a lot of control as app developers to like engage in conversation. We have one shot to respond to them, and we can't really have a conversation back and forth. So like if you have a problem with the app, use the support feature in the app to let people know like what's wrong. And I'm sure people will not fix it for you. If they continually like blow you off and say like you're not responding or whatever, yeah, go to the review and do whatever you have to do. But like if your first inclination is like I have a bug, I'm gonna leave a review saying there's a bug in the application, this sucks. Like give your developer a break. I mean, he's gonna fix that for you. Like just let them know. So I'm always surprised when those people use it from that end. As like a tech support thing, because we can't engage with you. We have one shot to reply, and that's the thread. Even if you update your review, we can't change our comment. We have to go edit it to like reflect on what's happening that you said. So
it's awful.
For anybody out there listening, if you ever have a problem with an app, try going with the developer first, and then if they don't respond, then you can flame them on the app review. But give them a shot first.
Yeah, and make sure you're sending them the feedback in the right spot. Don't go trying to find them on social media.
Yeah.
And send them a DM there. Actually go to, it's info at whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a support like option in the app where it goes to my email, but you can add in like it tells me what version of the app you're running. It tells me what version of the operating system you have on your phone. You can add like images and screenshots of what you're seeing. So like it's super helpful for me to diagnose it as opposed to getting a DM from something like it's broken, fix it. I'm like, what's broken? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's happening? So, being in tech for so long, like this is my life. I go to like Thanksgiving and it's like, oh, I have a broken computer. Can you fix it? I can't get this iPad app to work. It's like, I didn't make the iPad. I didn't make the computer. How am I supposed to know what these things are? But it's a common practice that I get a lot in the States here.
It's amazing how many things there are to break.
Yes. There is.
Oh, it's we have a web app that we work with now, and what's that built on? Superbase.
Yep. That's what Rick's built on that too, actually. So,
okay. And it's funny because we can add our inventory because we're mostly Lego investors on that side, so we'll add in our inventory, and at one point you just couldn't add a price anymore. Because one thing got tweaked just the tiniest little bit, and RK fixed it in 5 minutes. It was simple, but it's like just out of nowhere, it was just broken for a little bit.
Crazy.
How did he put it? Something got nudged, I think is how he said it, which it doesn't mean anything to me. But it's
technology is a fickle beast. It will work when you don't need it, but it won't work when you need it the most across the board. So it's very interesting from that side.
It's all awesome. All right. I had one more specific question here. Oh, for quantities.
Yep.
Was it instinct to add quantities right away? Or did you add that later when you started thinking about army builders, people like that?
Yes. totally added afterwards. I did not have it in the initial assessment. Also, that was my lack of knowledge of the Lego community. I didn't think people actually bought multiples of the same set. I was very wrong with that. So we added that in later. But the biggest concern was like, how do I specify for the piece count? So we have a value for every single user on how many pieces they built. So if we added a quantity multiplier, but say they had a set that was built but not built, or sealed, or whatever, how do we be able to distinguish between those two things as a whole? So the complex nature of that made it hard to add quantity off the bat. When we added minifigures, there's no built nature of minifigure. I mean, yeah, technically you can unbuild it, but that's not really how it works from that end. So we always had quantity with minifigures right off the bat, because we can just say like, okay, you have 5 of the same minifigs, it's all good. But with the sets, it was different. So essentially what we added in is an option to add a parent set you added, and then children's sets. And those children's sets had different set conditions: opened, built, sealed, parted out, etc. And with those pieces there, if it was built, we added it to your built count. We multiplied it by your quantity. Or if it wasn't built, then we would just not include it in your built count from that end. So that was a bit of a technical challenge to solve that solution across the board. But I'm happy where we got it today. It's been live for about 6 months now. So it's definitely been used a lot for people that like to hoard, and not hoard, but just like collect all those sets that have multiples of the same version. And be able to have them built twice, or like the common thing between the pyramid of Giza, for example, building up an entire pyramid, buying 2 of those sets, or buying 2 of the botanical garden sets and then making them bigger. We wanted to give people credit for their for 2 versions of that set in piece count, and that's kind of how it worked across the board with the quantity feature.
That's awesome. That's a great way to handle that. So I could go and buy 10 of a set and log in 2 built and 8 unbuilt.
Correct. You can add multiples of that. I think that's a max of actually there's no max. You can add as many as you want. And you can specify the set condition for each one of them. And then you can also add in a comment about them too. So say, for example, you say, hey, out of those 8 sets, 4 are sealed and 3 are in bad box condition. You can write a note in there so each one has its own individual metadata around it, so you can see what they look like on the grander scheme, and then you can get multiplied up from your number of sets across the board.
And those notes, are those public or private?
They're private to you. They're not public to anyone except for you and your own side. And the collection item detail page, they're listed there.
Awesome. All right. So if you want to just make a note like, hey, I just got 10 of these and they're all banged up, it doesn't sound like a complaint to the whole community.
No. Yep. You can just say, like, yeah, they're all private to you and you know them from your collection perspective, and you put all the notes in there from that side.
Wow. This is a hell of a thing.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So it's been a labor of love, and it's fun to be able to talk to folks like yourself and tell more folks about the app and get the word out there. That's primarily what I'm trying to do, and getting feedback from folks and listening to what their requests are across the board and seeing how we can improve.
Yeah. All right. So any other little pieces you want to throw out, things we might have missed?
I think you talked about all of it. I think that the key thing that maybe the last thing I'll say is around the creator tools in the app, being able to add in your Instagram and your YouTube links across the board. There are notes that we knew. That's a new feature. We talked about the set highlights, which is brand new as of today. You can view like a AI digest of the set and how people thought of it from that end as well. But I think you touched on the main pieces of the app, of the collection piece, the discussions that people can add across the app, the vote. You can do polls and stuff like that too. So if you want to ask the community, what set should I build, or what set should I get for my birthday, or something like that, the community can help provide that aspect there. And talk about the Brick Builder, which is the premium feature of Brick. That is a great way to give back to Brick and support Brick's growth. I think it's a pretty good assessment of everything we got.
Fantastic.
Bravo, right. Greg. So, that is a thorough app.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's we try to make it as best as we can. I think, again, like I mentioned, anyone listening or watching or engaging with this, I'm an open book. So you can contact me on Instagram, getbrickedapp, or my email, getgreg@getbricked.com. happy to engage or talk or chat anything about these things forward. I was just talking with someone about how to improve the brick set import and how we're using the ACM features for them to categorize built versus unbuilt or something like that. So I'm very open to conversations. The quantity feature was a user requested feature. You can also pin collections, like you can pin Instagram stuff to your top of your list. You can pin a collection to the top of your list because it's sorted by the date that you update it. So if you want to show off your greatest collection, you can pin it there. So a lot of these ideas come from users, and I'm very open to talking about them and making it more of a community thing. So I appreciate the kind words about the app.
So where do people find you?
Yeah, we're most active on Instagram at Get Bricked App. There's no E, just like Untapped, there's no E. So Get Bricked App is the best way to reach us. Also, bricked.app is the best URL. It's nothing short. People can get it from that area, or getbricked.com is the best way to do it. But again, I'm on there all the time. You can DM me on Instagram. You can follow me on Bricked at Greg Avola is my username across the board there. Happy to engage and talk and chat with folks, and that's the best way to get in touch with us. And download the app and let us know what you think. That's the best way to figure it out from that.
Awesome. All right. And one last thing we got to do tonight. We do have a giveaway to announce.
Oh, nice.
And so, because we told everybody we would, so we are going to give away a Battle of Endor Heroes brickhead set that we retired 2 years ago now. So everybody comment in the replay gang here on this video. Go comment. We'll put a reminder out everywhere. Make sure you go check out Brick. We'll do the giveaway next week, probably right about this time on this show. So that'll be a fun one. That Brickhead hasn't been around for a while now, so we'll pass that out there. And can we put that in the feed somewhere?
Yeah, you can create a discussion, and in the feed that you have a giveaway, and you can post actually this YouTube link in there, and people can watch it as a item on the discussion tab, and it'll go on your activity feed too. So people can follow you will also be able to see this content as well. So you can just copy your YouTube URL in there, and we'll take care of the rest.
And then they can find out about some features they might be missing.
Exactly. They can watch this conversation, or they can add a comment, etc., or like it or share it or things of that nature too.
Awesome. I love it. All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time, guys.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And we will we'll see you in the new Lego socials.
Yeah. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Good night. He was cool. Oh, and you're gone.